Hey, how's it going, guys? In this Excel VBA tutorial, I'm going to show you how to run Excel macro using VBA to combine tables from different worksheets into one master table. Alright, so before we begin, let me just give you some detail on what we'll be doing in this video. So as I mentioned before, the macro we'll be writing in this video is going to combine tables from multiple worksheets into one master sheet. Here in this Excel spreadsheet, I have 5 worksheets, or 5 tabs. And the tabs highlighted in green are the tabs that I want to combine together into one single table. And the master tab is where I want to store the final result. So here, let me just give you a quick demo on the macro. If I go to View, Macros, and here I have a macro called Combine Worksheets. And if I run this macro, it's going to iterate all the worksheets, and it's going to grab the table and combine all of them into one single table and put the result onto this master tab. And the macro is dynamic, meaning that the VBA code will work on any table format and any table size and any number of worksheets. So if you have like 50 to 100 tabs or worksheets, and the macro will be able to iterate every single worksheet and put all the tables into one table. And the other thing is, the macro is actually not very difficult to write. Before we dive into the tutorial, so there are a couple of things you need to consider when you are going to create this tool. First, when you merge all your tables, you need to make sure that all the table formats are consistent, such as the number of columns, and for each column, the data type ideally should be the same. Now with that being said, let's dive into the tutorial. Alright, so here my Excel file, and this Excel file is basically the exact same file from the file that I was showing you before, except that in this file there's no VBA code embedded. And we're going to start everything from scratch. So first, you need to make sure that for the tables that you're combining, ideally the columns number should be the same. Now let's open the VBA window by going to the Developer tab and click on Visual Basic. Here I'm going to insert a new module. I'm going to create a subroutine, and I'll name this subroutine Combine Worksheets. And this is basically your macro. So I'm going to start by declaring my variables and objects. So my first variable is going to be last row, and it's going to be the last row index for each table, last column, as long, row tracker. And I'll show you how we are going to use each variable and objects pretty soon. Here, let's declare all the variables and objects first. So DMWS master as worksheet. So this is going to be the master worksheet object. WS as worksheet, and also create variables to serve as a flag. And this variable is going to be Boolean, so true or false. And that's all the variables that we need to create. Now let's create the master worksheet object first. I'm going to type set wmaster is equals to this workbook dot worksheets. Now let's go back to the Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to grab the master worksheet name. I'm going to just copy and paste. Basically, what we're doing with this line right here is we are creating what we call an object. And this WS master worksheet object is going to be the entity of this master worksheet. And when we finish running all the actions, we need to empty out all the objects. Now here, let me insert notes, create master worksheet object. If I'm going to do this by hand, what I will do is I'll just copy the table and paste onto the master worksheet, including the column headers. And for the remaining tables, I'm going to just copy the data content without the column header. And that's the manual process. And the data need to be inserted at the end of the table on the master worksheet. So that's basically the concept. And the macro is basically just a tool to allows you to automate things like this. And since I'm treating this Excel file kind of like a template, so every time when I'm performing this worksheet combine task, I want to clear my master worksheet first. So from the WS master object .cells, I can clear all the contents using this clear method. So clear worksheets should be master worksheet content, including the formatting. And here I'm going to insert my row tracker. And row tracker is the row that we're going to insert in the data. And flag is used when we copying the column headers. It's just an indication that this task has been complete. And we're going to set the default to false. Now I'm going to iterate each worksheet in this Excel file, except the master worksheet. So to write a loop, we're going to say that for each WS in this workbook worksheets. Here I'm going to insert if condition, and I'm going to check if the worksheet name is not equals to master, and it's going to be uppercase, and here I need to convert the worksheet name to uppercase as well. Then I want to grab the last row value from the worksheet object based on column A. I also want to grab the last column number based on the first row. Using these two variables, we can basically determine the table size. And here I want to insert another if condition. I'm going to say that if the flag value is not equals to 2, so here I want to insert not condition to flip the condition. So before we set the flag give up value to false, and if this condition is now true, then I want to copy the column headers onto the master worksheet. So here I want to type ws.range, and we're going to start from range A1. I want to use the reset method to extend my range. And here we are specifying the row and the column size based on cell range A1. And my row size is going to be 1, and my column size is going to be last column value. Copy. I want to copy the column header to the master worksheet. So it's going to be ws master.range A1 is my target. And if, let me maximize this. And once this task is complete, then I want to set the flag value to 2. Now we can copy the data set onto the master worksheet. So from the current WS object.range, you want to specify the table size of the table dimension. So it's going to be from second row, so it's going to be 2. And it's going to be from the first column, so here we can either insert 1 or the column letter index. In here I'll use the numerical value, first column. And here we need to specify the destination range. And it's going to be based on the last row value and the last column value. Copy. And I want to copy the table to the master worksheet. So here I'm typing ws master.cells. I want to insert the row index based on the row tracker value. and I want to insert in the first column. And once this copy paste action is complete, then we need to update our row tracker value. So it's going to be row tracker plus last row minus 1. And that's it in terms of combining all the worksheets. Now if I go back to my Excel file, and if I go to View and Macros, and if I run this combine worksheets macro, and that's going to combine all the tables into this master worksheet. So here, let me do it again. I think that was too fast. So if I go to View, Macros, and if I run this macro again, and the task is complete. So comparing to doing this manually, we're able to finish this task within, I think it was 5 seconds. Now we have combined all the tables from all the worksheets into one master table. The next thing we need to do is the formatting. So for the formatting, here let me put both windows side by side. And I'll close the project window. And this is optional. If you feel like this is all you need, then you can stop right here. But if you want to apply additional formatting, such as fixing the number formatting, the column words, and here we have the URL already in hyperlinks. So that's one thing I'm actually going to undo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all the these 4 tabs. I'm actually going to remove all the hyperlinks. Because a lot of times when you have a list of URLs, the URL is not going to automatically become a hyperlink. So here let me run the macro again. I think that didn't work correctly. So here let me put a stop right here. And that's going to clear the worksheets. Oh, okay, so in column A, I forgot to remove the hyperlinks. And there are other things such as the font style should be consistent. And if I'm presenting this as a report to our manager or upper management, they want to make sure that the report is formatting professionally. Now here I want to just run the macro one last time. Okay, now this time the URLs are in just regular text format. So here let me create another subroutine, and except that this macro is going to be a private macro, meaning that when we create this macro, general users cannot see this macro available on their PC. And I'll name this subroutine private sub, formatting master sheet. And we're going to have a parameter called master sheet as object. If you want, you can name this as worksheet object. So you can name this parameter however you want. And I'll leave that as worksheet object for now. And here I need to declare my variables again. So we need to have a last row variable, row number variable as long, and last column as long. So just these 3 variables. And here I'm going to type with worksheet object. And here I need to get the last row number again. Except that this time I don't need to insert the worksheet object name. I can directly insert a period .cells rows.count based on column A. Let's have a typo somewhere here. Let me. Oh, this should be worksheet object. Now we need to grab the last column number. So that cells, and it's going to be based on the first row, columns.count, .int, x2 left, .column. And here I want to fix the number formatting first. I'll insert the comma separator. in column D to F, actually column D to G. So here I'm going to insert dot columns, and I want to specify my column range, and it's going to be column D to G. Dot number format, and here we can manually assign the format pattern, and it's going to be pound sign, comma, and 2 pound signs, 1 single 0, and that's it. Now let me go back to the combine worksheets macro, and here I want to insert a message box. So once the task is complete, then I want a dialog to notify me that the task is complete. So I'll say process is complete. VB information. So that's just the icon that I want to display. And above the message box, I want to insert the formatting master sheet macro. For the parameter, I'm going to assign the WS master object. Now if I press F5 to run the macro, and noticing that we now have a message box, as well as in column D to G, my number formats are now fixed. So if I type 10,000, it is going to display as integer number, well a decimal point, and as well as what displaying the comma separator. Now let's go back. So here let's go back to the formatting master sheet macro. Now I want to convert all the links into hyperlinks. So this one's going to be convert URLs to hyperlinks. So here I'm going to write a loop. I want to iterate each row one by one. So for row number is equals to, I want to start from the second row to the last row. And the syntax is hyperlinks add. We need to provide the anchor first, and it's going to be the cell reference. So here we need to type .cells row number, and it's going to be value in column H. In address is the URL, and my URL is going to be the same as the text. So it's going to be address colon equal sign .cells row number, and it's going to be based on the value in column H .value. And we can also set the text we want to display, so we don't have to display the link. We can display the video name. So from this table, I forgot to show you what this table is about. So this table basically contains a channel's video information, such as video ID, video title, a video published dates, and the view counts, like counts, and so on. So some of the basic statistical information. And also I want to use video title as the display text. So let me go back. So from the text to display parameter, here I need to make sure that I insert colon and equal sign, and followed by the text I want to display. And I want to use the text in column B. So here I'll type .cells row number based on column B .value. And that's the VBA code to convert regular string into hyperlinks. Now the next item I want to, or the task I want to perform is I want to highlight alternate rows on my table. That way the table will look a little more professional. So this one's going to be applying background color to alternate row. And again, I'm going to insert another loop. So for row number is equals to last row. Except that I want to insert this statement. If row number divided by 2, and the remainder is equals to 1, then I want to format the row. And to format a row's background, so here I'm going to insert .cells row number, And I want to apply the formatting based on the row number in column A. I want to resize the cell range. So it's going to be, so the row size is going to be 1, and the column size is going to be last column value. And I can insert the interior method .color, and here we can assign RGB value for the background color. So here I'll insert a random number, maybe 230, 255, 227. Now let me just run the macro for testing. So if I run the combine worksheet macro, and here I'm running into my first error. And here I have a typo, it should be interior. Let me try again. And that looks pretty good. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually shrink all the column widths. Oh, and in column H, so here we'll convert all the URLs into hyperlinks, as well as using the text in column B, which is the video title, as the display text. And there are just a couple other things we need to do. And this one is make sure all fonts are the same. And to select all the cells in a worksheet, so here we can insert .cells. I want to change the font size to 12 and the font name to Noodle Sans. So that's a new font style that I've been using these days. I want to auto-fit columns. So .cells, entire column, .auto-fit. And the last thing is to format table headers. We know the table style from cell A1. So my row index is going to be 1. Column index is going to be 1 as well. Resize. And my row size is going to be 1. And my column size is going to be last column value. And I want to change the background color to light gray. And I know the RGB value is around, let's do 233 all across. And I'll copy this line right here. I'll just make a copy. And I want to change the font style to bold. And lastly, so here, I want the cell pointers to be always in cell A1. So here we can use this command application.goto. And the first parameter is the cell reference, so the range. And I want the selection to be on cell A1. I also want to scroll the window to cell A1 as well. What this statement does is, here, let me give you an example. I think some people never use application.goto command before. So here, let me paste onto my immediate window. Now if I execute this line right here, oops, this should be, let me see, application.goto. Let me try again. Oh, I know why, because here I didn't specify my worksheet object. So I'll just manually type the object as active sheet. Now if I run this line, and I'll scroll my active window to cell A1, as well as making sure that the current active cell is located in cell A1. And that's the last thing we need to do to finish this macro. Now let me close everything, and let me make sure that I save this file as macro enable file. Here my Excel file is still regular Excel file, and we need to make sure that we save this file as Excel macro enable workbook and save. Now let me do something. So I'm going to randomly format this table, this master table. And I'll change the formatting on some of the columns. So I'll just make that as maybe like dates. Basically, I'm trying to max out this table. Now if I go to view, macros. Now if I run the combine worksheet macro, and even though we mess up the original master table format, but when we run the macro, because in our macro code, we have successfully write a macro to perform the table formatting test, so we don't have to worry about if a user mess up with the formatting or whatnot. Alright, so this is everything I want to share in this video. And as always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video.